are busy finishing up Barefoot Days, and it's been an amazing journey for us and for the moms that have been working with us. And we've tried to like build it layer for layer. And as we came to the last section, section 9, we felt that it was time to take on or to tackle something that Charlotte Mason puts a lot of weight on, which is the mother's own personal growth. And she basically says mothers are persons too, right? So one of her principles and her philosophies in education is that children are born persons. So, the respect for the personhood, what God has done in creating this being with the capacity to learn and to grow just within them inherently. But then she goes on to say, but mothers are persons too, and we shouldn't lose ourselves in our children. We should completely give ourselves over to the service and the love and the care of them, and obviously as home educators facilitating that. But we shouldn't lose ourselves. And the way that she talks about is mother culture is her term. And she says that, for mothers to have a further future purpose and a future benefit to her children, grow they must. So those are her 19th century words. And you and I have been tossing back and forth a lot of ideas. And one of the things that we feel that we need to first caution moms about before we chat about our moments for mother that we're going to be introducing is that this is not what we see out there as self-love and self-care. The need to run away from our home and our responsibilities to go and have our nails done, have coffee with a friend, etc. Well, there's nothing wrong with those things. If we are doing them to get away from our family, well, then there's a question mark. But what she's talking about here is how do you take time to grow spiritually, emotionally, and intellectually? So I thought that's what we could chat about today. And we've come up with a couple of ideas, but I thought maybe you want to go first.
I think you've used the words moments for mother. And I think when your children are little, that's exactly what it is. It's just finding moments. We often don't have a whole afternoon cut out to spend journaling or spend gardening or whatever it is we like to do for our own, enjoyment. So it's finding those small moments. And I think for many of us, it's in the morning before our children wake up, or last thing at night before we go to bed when our children are in bed. After you've tucked the children in, then you've maybe got an hour or two to do something for yourself, for your own benefit. But I also found that I've grown often by doing things with my children that they were doing.
Yes.
So there was a season where some of my children had music lessons, and I used to play the piano at school, and we had a teacher coming over and she challenged me and I took up piano again for a while. Then that season, our circumstances changed and that ended. But it was so good. I realized that my children are seeing me doing something that I have to practice. It's growing me. And it wasn't always easy. And it took discipline to put in the practice before the lesson. So I was modeling something to them, but I was also enjoying it immensely myself and getting that emotional reward of achieving something. You and I always read. Sometimes I read more in some seasons than others. Often I'm consumed by projects and working and our websites and our curricula.
Yeah.
But, from time to time, I'll either read books that help, or like self-help books on parenting, marriage, gardening, whatever I'm interested in at a particular time. And then sometimes it's just for relaxation, novels and things like that. But often those things challenge a person too, because they're about somebody's life and their challenges. So they definitely do cause you to grow. And spiritually, it's the same. It's, spending time meditating on the word and the issues in your life that you're trying to deal with or challenges you're trying to overcome. And it's just those moments that you piece together. You string them like pearls on little moments. And at the end of the day or the end of the week or the end of the year, you've got these little moments that have, done something for you.
Yeah, definitely. And, as the kids get older and they start being more independent, then the options change. You said you've been introduced to interests through your children's interests, and same thing with me. We started a hiking group back in 2016 for for our son and some of the friends. And that eventually became my interest and my passion. And then from that spurred a desire to find out more about our natural fauna and flora and our mountains and that sort of thing. So that definitely does happen. Books, one, fantastic, and also it gives you an opportunity to share things that you're learning with your kids around a dinner table. The other thing that if there are health issues, that a parent might or a mother might start to dig into natural eating or whatever. So a lot of them are follow on from being a mom and a homemaker and a home educator. But sometimes it's good to actually step away and say, well, what can I do this season for me to grow myself spiritually or intellectually? And then you make a concerted effort and a choice to go and pursue something. And then one of the other, and that there's so much to learn. I mean, the world is just full of knowledge, and those things are good, but that's also might come in a later season in your life. I found that the best thing for me to do was to actually do it early in the morning. I'm not very good at night. I'm definitely not a night owl. In fact, around about 8 o'clock, you'll start to see me glaze over. So mornings were always good for me, and other parents might want to do it when their toddler is having a nap and the older children are playing after lunch or something like that. So there's no fixed, this has to look like this. It's what can work in your life, but the fact is that it needs to be done. As you said, the little pearls that string together. But one of the lovely ideas that in our research and our looking around for how other moms are doing it was a mother's morning basket. So there's a move mainly in the Charlotte Mason homeschoolers for the topics that you're going to do together with your children, the nature study and the history read alouds and the art appreciation music, that goes into a basket, and they call it a morning basket. Whether they do it first thing in the morning or somewhere, it's really just a place to contain all the things together so that they are on hand for mom when she's got her kids around the table together. And I thought a lovely extension of that would be to have your own space. And a friend of mine used to do a lot of fiber work and knitting, and she used to have her knitting basket next to the fire. And she would do that when her husband was reading aloud, and then she would have her Bible basket in her room and her reading basket in her study and that sort of thing. And I thought, well, I wouldn't want all those baskets, but one basket with your theology book, with your Bible, with your journal, with your book that you're reading. And if you can grab a cup of tea or coffee and sit down somewhere in your day, and it's all contained, it's all ready, takes away the excuses, kind of like a nature bag ready, packed to go, no excuses.
Yes.
Oh, I can't find this, can't find that. And it just makes it a bit easier for you to embrace a bit of time for yourself.
Yeah, I think you've definitely got to be intentional about it. And you've actually reminded me of another story I heard from somebody else, where she had a recipe holder up on the windowsill. It must have been a big windowsill above her sink. And she just left her Bible open there so that when she was washing anything, she could just read a verse or two when she had a moment. And so that's not going to make up for intense study, but it's just, a word that's going to encourage you or make you refocus or think on good things, in a handy place. And I think we can all be intentional about putting things like that, whether it's behind the bathroom door or next to the toilet, or like you say, in a basket in our schoolroom, wherever. We've just got to plan these things so that we do have them in our lives because it's good for us.
Correct. So what we're going to be doing is for July, we're going to be doing a Moments for Mother challenge once a week on Facebook. So if you don't follow us on Facebook, go and find us. We're there. And we will put up a little prompt each week for the next 4 weeks and just encourage moms to get going with the habit.